Thank you for viewing this innovation blog brought to you by Prosecutors Center for Excellence and Equitas. My name is Sophia Roach, and I'm here today with Ashley Rich, the District Attorney of Mobile, Alabama. She's here to talk about how her office is addressing the serious problems resulting from bullying. District Attorney Rich served as prosecutor for 15 years before she was elected to office. She has extensive trial experience for which she's been honored at a national level. During her 12-year tenure as DA, she has supported several child-focused interventions. That includes Underage Drinking Task Force, Big Brothers Big Sisters, the Mobile Youth and Family Services Intervention Program. But we're here to talk today about something she's grown in-house. It's an innovative program to fight bullying. So I'd like to welcome you, DA Rich, and please tell us about BullyBlocker. How did this program get started?
Well, BullyBlocker has a great catchy name. So that's an important thing when you're starting a new program. And when I became the elected district attorney, I thought one of the things that was very, very near and dear to my heart was that we had such an increase in 2010 and 2009 of bullying within our community because of the use and the predominant use of cell phones with young people. Pretty much every young person, middle school, high school level, had a cell phone. And we saw that young people were hiding behind that cell phone, much like they would hide behind a computer screen, and were committing many, many more acts of cyberbullying. And it was just tearing apart the young people in our community. And we needed to do something about it. So we started the anonymous texting program called BullyBlocker, where young people within the community, if they did not feel like they could tell a teacher or a parent or a resource officer at the school that they had a problem and they were being bullied, that we would create an anonymous texting program where they could text our office. They would text the word BullyBlocker to a short code, which is, a texting platform. You just go to your texting platform on your phone and text the word BullyBlocker to 444-999. And it would be anonymous. Their information would not be shared with anyone. And then we have social workers that work in our office at the Mobile County District Attorney's Office who would then try to go in to the schools and address the bullying problem. Why people always ask me, why as the DA think, why as the DA do you think you need to be involved in the bullying problem? Well, a website called Fight Crime Investing Kids has quoted that nearly 60% of students in grades 6 through 9 who were classified as a bully were convicted of at least one crime by the age of 24. And so we saw a correlation that young people, especially the bullies, were then going on to become criminals in our criminal justice system. And we were having to see them at the district attorney's office and actually prosecute them. And we thought, what a great way if we could intervene with the bully by getting information about someone who is being a bully and intervene with them on a social services level at a young age, then we could prevent them from entering, hopefully, a life of crime in the first place. And we could really help reduce that statistic. And so that's why we thought this anonymous texting program would be a great way to try and help students who are being bullied and then help address the bully in hopes that we could get them on the right path.
Now, if you get information about a specific child where maybe the bully's information is not anonymized, are there other interventions which you're able to deploy aside from school presentations? And if so, what have you seen?
Sure. Let me just give you a very simple example of how this works. So we had a young student who was in middle school and he was a straight A student. And he just stopped coming to school. And so his teachers and his principal became very concerned because he was, for all apparent purposes, on the right track, doing well in school. And so they contacted us and said, we need help trying to determine why this student has all of a sudden not coming to school anymore. And so my social service workers with the Youth and Family Services program that I have at the DA's office went out and made contact with the student. And what we found out was that the student was being bullied by the other kids in the class because he was coming to school and his clothes weren't clean. and they were making fun of him. And so we reached out to a local church. We asked them if they would donate a washer and dryer for this young kid. He did not have a washer and dryer, and his mom, worked, and she didn't have time to wash his clothes. And so he would go weeks at a time without getting his clothes washed. We got the church to donate the washer and dryer. We got it installed in their house, and within a week he was back at school, and the kids had stopped the bullying because he was wearing clean clothes to school. Now that seems very simple, but for that young man, it meant the world to him that we could address that situation. Now we have a lot of other situations that are much more serious, where we have someone who is a bully, who is being atrocious. His or her conduct is horrible to a young person. And that young person is also being bullied so much that they're on the verge of committing suicide. And we've had to go in to the person, the victim that was being bullied, and put in suicide prevention measures in place with that child's parents to make sure that that child did not commit suicide. And then we went to the school anonymously again and address the bully, the person who was being the bully, with the school system. And we were able to get him counseling to try and determine what was the root of the problem. Because typically when someone is a bully, there is a root problem. And we were able to do that, and we were able to get the bully on the right track as well.
Wow. So let's talk a little bit about resources. What are some of the basic necessities to start up a program like this in terms of either staffing or technology?
Well, most district attorneys' offices have victim service officers. And so I could see if you did not want to have social workers, we got a grant to get our social workers, and we get that grant every year from our school system, because they are in the school system needs programs like this to help with bullying prevention within their schools, and they get federal grants for this type of thing. So we went to our local school district and we asked them for a local grant, and they were all on board, because they understand that when the district attorney's office comes into their schools, it brings a whole nother level of seriousness to the issue of bullying. And so we got a small grant for 2 social workers from the school system. And the bullying actual program itself, if anyone wants to contact my office, I can put them in touch with the company that started the online texting program for us. And we have the short code that we would be willing to share with any jurisdiction just for a nominal fee. And I'm talking a nominal fee, less than $1,000 a year, to purchase the ability to have your own texting program. And so those calls they come in to the short code, and then we receive an email with all of the information that comes in on the anonymous text, because they go through a series of questions, about, can you tell us who's the bully? Can you tell us who's the person being bullied? Those types of things. And we accumulate that data in an email form, and then we send that email to the person that's designated within our office to address the issue. So it's a very simple process, and and one of the reasons why this program has been so successful, it's very minimal cost. I mean, you could do it with your victim service officer, who would receive those emails and potentially go out to the schools and work with them.
And do you have any type of, what is the lag time, I guess, if you will, between when somebody uses the text messaging system and when they might receive a response from someone?
Within 24 hours, 48 hours at the most, we respond, because oftentimes by the time they report it to us, the condition or the bullying has become so serious that we really need to address the issue pretty quickly. We don't sit on these reports, because you just never know at what breaking point the person who is being bullied is at. And so you want to make sure you get them some attention very quickly.
Now, in setting up the protocol that you use, were there any other community partners? You've talked about the school, you've talked about the social workers that you have through the grant, but were there any other partners that you found helpful in this process outside of that?
Absolutely. But they are the typical partners that we would see with our victim services office, such as we have a program here in Mobile, and I'm sure all other district attorneys' offices have it. It provides our family counseling programs, free family counseling. And our program is called the Lifelines Family Counseling Center. And oftentimes that's our biggest referral to our community partner, is through the family counseling program, because we see that the bully obviously needs counseling. And then certainly oftentimes our victim needs counseling to get back on the right track, to get their self-esteem and emotional support that they need that has been so diminished by being bullied by someone. So we reach out to them a tremendous amount of time. Oftentimes we reach out to if there's a sexual aspect to the bullying issue, which we see a lot in middle school. I don't know if you know the statistic. Recently, 80% of middle schoolers have sent a naked picture of themselves online in middle school. And so we see a lot of sexting and a lot of sexual issues that are coming up in the bullying realm as well. And so we work with our Rape Crisis Center, we work with our sexual assault counselors, and a lot of times young people will take these pictures and almost blackmail young women. And it's really an issue that we've been able to help combat and tackle through the anonymous texting program.
Wow. Tell me a little bit about the public response and the amount. I mean, this program's been in place in your office for a little bit now. What is the, are people still using it, and, how frequently?
We get at least one text a day. So sometimes we get more than that. Sometimes we get multiple texts, but we get at least one text a day, and people are still using it. Now our low budget that we have one billboard in town that has the information on it in the billboard. But other than that, we go out and at the beginning of every school year, part of our grant is to produce posters to put up in all of the schools about the program, the BullyBlocker poster that you've got on the PowerPoint presentation, and just reminding young people that the program exists. And we do that. We renew that every single year for the new students that are coming up, so they understand that there is an anonymous texting program out there. And so that's been very helpful in spreading the word about the program as well as our billboard. And we've had a great response.
And tell us, are there any additional lessons that you have for other people that might be starting something like this? Anything else that you want to share?
I think the most important thing is, like I said in the beginning, people were like, "You're way out of your lane, Ashley. Why are you starting a bullying program?" And when I tell them those statistics, they're shocked, they're alarmed, and they understand why we're involved. And the advice that I would give anybody that's thinking about starting a program like this is do it. Just do it. You might get some criticism, but if you save one young person's life because you have a program like this in place, then it's been all worth it. And it's very little commitment, very little. Most people get overwhelmed at the thought of starting their own program. But this is a very simple program where we have seen tremendous success. And I would just encourage anyone to do something like this, especially because it's simple and it is just something that we have been very successful at.
Well, I want to thank you for sharing this innovation with us. And please, if any of you out there have an innovation you'd like to share with PCE, email us at contactpce@pceinc.org. Thank you so much, DA Rich.
My website is mobileda.org, and my email address is ashleyrich@mobileda.org if they need any other advice.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.